What up, what up, what up? You already know what time it is. Welcome back to another exclusive episode and the season premiere of 1 Hour Talk with Mazee. I am Maserati Santana. Tonight, my guest, she's working on her third season of her talk show. Not only just media in the media industry, she wear a lot of hats. But tonight, we're going to find out exactly what hats that is. Tonight, I'm interviewing MsMedia. MsMedia, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Finally got you up here.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to get to it. So I want to get right to your interview. You are working on the third season.
Yes.
Of your show. Talk to me about that.
So we just shot the pilot episode for Mondays with MsMedia. Shout out to Guru and Media Mike, who were my producers for that episode. We just shot that pilot episode. We are shooting the intro to the talk show. So we're about to publish the pilot episode, and we're actually going into shooting first week of November. So we're going to shoot the entire season first week of November, knock it out, get season 3 under our belt, and get moving into season 4. But I am super excited. We actually opened up the season with TB Too Funny.
Shout out to TV Too Funny. What up, boy?
What up, Mr. Bryant? He was my pilot episode guest. So it was a really great episode, and I am looking forward to the lineup this season.
Yeah,
good shit.
Tell me about the show though. Like, what can people look for when they watch your show?
I always tell people it's like Wendy Williams minus the shit talking. So it is entertainment news. I am covering world news, entertainment news. Who Beyonce is trying to outdo, where Megan Thee Stallion was at. I'm covering all of those topics, but I'm doing it in a way that is gracious, and I'm very welcoming of my guests. It is very important to me for my guests to know that I'm on their side. Mm-hmm. And when I was talking to you off air before we started, some of the things that you were saying really sounded like that is really kind of how you operate your platform as well. So, yeah, I got to get you on the show.
Absolutely. I kind of seen clips of you on TV. Yeah. You kind of started off the show. Yo, you married? And he like, yo, you just jump right into it. So that's a good thing too, you know, because you don't want to bore nobody, you know, during the interview. So, you know, kind of makes me want to go back to your childhood and how it all got started before I enter what you're doing now.
Of course. That's cool.
Let's talk about, you know, you growing up in your childhood and being in a home with your parents.
Baby media.
Oh, yeah.
Baby media. So I was probably 10 when I got the creative itch. I entered into a poetry and speech contest. Mm-hmm. And both my parents, I had both my parents in the home. I had mom and dad. Both my parents are pastors. And I entered this poetry and speech contest. I wrote a poem. Wrote it myself, and then it was time to perform the poem, and I won second place to a girl who read Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. She delivered it. She read that shit. And something about not winning first place, but having a space where I could present who I was internally, and it just felt natural to me, and I kept going. So I got into songwriting for a little bit of time, but it took too much work. I'm not gonna hold you. It you know, the songwriting process was it didn't give me a quick enough adrenaline rush like poetry did. So I pivoted back to poetry, and I've been a poet since I was 10 years old. So I should have written, in my mind, people get excited to hear that I've written 40 books of poetry. To me, the only exciting part about that is the majority of them are written in 1 year. I should have written that amount of poems, given how long I've been writing.
What was your parents like?
My parents are great people. My dad and my mom met in the Army. My dad lied. I don't like that part.
Lied?
I don't like that part. He lied to my mama to get my mama. He was 19.
Don't knock a man for what he got to do to get him.
And she was 25. And he carried himself so well that she believed that he was her age. So he kind of started the relationship with a fib, but I forget where they were stationed. They were about to, you know, ship my mom off somewhere. And my dad married my mom a month after knowing her so that, you know, he wouldn't lose her. And they've been together ever since. So I think something about having both a mom and a dad gave me really high expectations, both on myself and men.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you really knock him for that?
A little bit.
I mean, but how long did they stay married?
They still married. Yeah, they still together. They've never had any separation or anything like that. But like, she was gonna rock with you either way. Just keep it a buck.
Did you ever talk to your mom about that?
My mom, I've actually tried to talk to my mom about men in general, and my mom never really had a whole lot that she was able to relate with me with because she didn't have quite as much experience. I think she only had like 2 serious boyfriends before my dad. And then she married my dad. So she thought that her lens was a little too limited to really offer me a lot of day-to-day feedback. So what I know about men has just been very trial and error. Bless my heart.
But what do you know about men?
What you think I know about
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. You in America, she's in the hot seat. What do you know about men? Can you tell me?
One thing I know about men, number one, you guys are not as simple as you keep on telling people. I
That's
wish you
why
would
I'm
take
ready to
that
get
out
comfortable.
of your speech that you give people when you introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm just the easiest guy to keep. You're not simple because that dilutes the fact that you're individuals. So learned that the hard way.
Right.
And then I also have learned men have feelings too. I know that sounds simple, but I was not raised to know that men had feelings.
That's everything.
I was not told that men had feelings. I was not told that their feelings mattered. I had a brother, and if he hurt himself, he kind of was expected to get over it real quick. You know, so I had to also trial and error learn that men are people. When the light bulb went off that men were human beings, the game did kind of change for me a little bit. I was under the impression that men's entire job was like to come to the space being just complete servants, because when we grow up, Disney doesn't tell you a fair representation.
Right.
Barbie and Ken, we don't even know what Ken does for a living. We just know Ken is there to like be available to Barbie. And that was what I always kind of thought about men. And I'm learning that there's much more depth to men.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
High school. Were you popular in high school?
I went to a private high school. So, I mean, like, it was so small that everybody in the school was popular by default. But I was well liked in the sense that I just, I guess the same way that I know how to communicate with different kinds of people now as an adult, I've always kind of had that. I could be a bit of a chameleon, if you will. It didn't really matter who I was around. I could find a way to make sure that we both felt comfortable while we were in each other's space. So I think that kind of helped. Mm-hmm. But I stayed to myself. I'll be honest with you, Mazee. I kind of stayed to myself. I was in the worship team. I sang in the worship team.
You can sing.
I can sing.
America, should we get her to sing something? Like, we're going to get that later on in the interview. But no, so high school, you went to a private school. Yes. And everybody was popular.
Everybody kind of was popular.
In a private school, I guess that's true. Everybody would be popular. But for me to go to a public school, you had to earn your popularity in a public school.
Yeah.
So
I would not have been popular in a public school.
Why would you say that?
I spent my class time writing poems. I did my work, and then after the work was done, I would rush through the work, and my head was down writing poems. I was always a dreamer. I've always been in a fairy tale land. Even if I was writing from a place of fiction, I still had to mentally go somewhere to do it. And so I wasn't really concerned with who was sleeping with who in high school. Like, I missed a lot of the promiscuous moments because I really was still just being a kid. I still was playing with Barbies all through high school. I didn't get my Barbies up till I was like 19. Like, I was a later bloomer, but I was very much focused in the arts. I sang in the worship team. I was in the drama team. I excelled in English. That was the class that I was there first. I was the first student in the English class. Those were the classes that mattered to me. So I probably could have gotten into more trouble if I were in a different environment, but my parents did a really good job of sheltering me.
So you never really got in trouble?
Nope.
No fights, no none of that. Just
my fights. I've had a couple school fights, and I definitely drugged them bitches every time.
Talk to me about them. What happened? What's the first fight that you remember?
The first fight I got into,
excuse me,
was over my first kiss. Shout out to Randy Ruffin.
Randy Ruffin, you had the first kiss?
Randy Ruffin was.
He must have been David Ruffin's brother, little brother.
Randy was smooth though. Now Randy was popular.
Yeah. For
a sixth grader, I didn't know sixth graders could be popular, but yeah,
wow.
He was smooth.
So what happened?
Randy liked me. I was in fifth grade. He kissed me walked away. Somehow it got out that Randy gave me a kiss. This big bully girl named Tia Tate. What's up, Tia? I hope you're well. Tia Tate had a problem with Randy having a crush on me, met me on the playground after school. And I remember my dad telling me, if you get into a fight with the biggest bully, you make sure you knock them down because you shouldn't have too many more fights after that. You just got to make sure you really handle business with the biggest person first.
Right.
She just happened to be very big.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe in, doing the hooting and hollering. Like while you're trying to rev up the crowd, I'm a sucker punch you, take you out, we're done with. And that was really my signature move. I did a lot of, you're not about to be out here dragging me. I knew that I wanted to use my face for a living. So it was important to me not to be letting people punch on it. And the only time I actually lost a fight was to a boy. I got into a fight with a boy. We were walking home. And he was a couple years older than me. I think he'd been held back a few times. And I kept trying. Every time I got knocked down, I got back up. Nose was bloody. I mean, I will never forget this moment. It was actually one of the worst moments of my life. But the only person that's ever beat me up was a boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You had a signature move?
Yeah, hit him first. Hit him first. Wait till that opening. Get him with that nice two. Hit him first. I've never, not one time, ever as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, ever allowed another woman to put their hands on me. It's never going to happen.
By any chance, did you watch wrestling when you was growing up?
No, but I did take up boxing. I'm waiting to get an opponent. I would have gotten in the ring last year if I had gotten an opponent that wasn't trying to fuck. Like I had found an opponent and she was too busy trying to you know what I'm saying? So that didn't happen.
Wait, hold on.
You heard what I said. You think you didn't, but you heard exactly.
Let me grab the bottle.
What I said to you. I said what I said. I can repeat it if
No. I got it. I'm going to repeat it for America. Can I repeat it? I just needed a refill. You had an opponent.
Yeah. I had found my own boxing opponent. Shout out to ITK Boxing over on Independence here in Charlotte. I saw one of the babies people fight a couple years ago. Right. TG got in the ring. I watched TG take a big loss. And then I saw him start training and get ready to get back in the ring. And I was like, I can do that. I saw the promotional opportunity. I'm a natural athlete. And so that was why I took up boxing like a year and a half ago. I've been training for about a year, almost 2 years now. And I should have already had a fight if the opponent that I had found was focused on getting in the ring
and not trying to fuck you
and getting on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Them studs are sneakier than men. You got to really keep your eyes open.
Right. So that kind of put a bad taste in your mouth about that.
It just slowed it down. I still want to I just need one fight. I just want to get one fight under my belt.
Okay. So you still want to be active with that?
I still want to be active with that. I gave it my word and I got a boxing coach and I saw how it changed my fitness. I love it. And again, I know the marketing and the promotional opportunities behind getting my pretty ass in the ring. So yeah, I would love that opportunity, but I need somebody who's going to take the fight just as seriously as I am.
Absolutely. What's one of the hardest things that you probably had to deal with when you was, in the private high school and like coming through your childhood? Your parents was pastors and stuff like that. What's one of the things some things that you had to kind of get over? Okay, well, this is crazy.
Yeah.
No kids, the other kids on the block ain't doing this. What was it?
So I grew up in Detroit. 313.
What up, though?
What up, though? I grew up in Detroit, and I've always been very articulate and enunciated and pronounced everything very clearly, and so that didn't make for a popular transition into every school year all the time.
Right. So
there was that. I will say the hardest time that I had, Mazee, honestly, was when my dad took over his first church in Detroit. And on chapel day in my private school, the girls had to wear their skirts. We could wear pants every other day, but we had to wear our skirt on chapel day, and we had to wear our white crisp shirt. And there were girls in my dad's church that lived, because the church was in the ghetto. It was in the hood. It was hood. It was in the hood. I had friends that went to my dad's church, but it didn't feel like it didn't feel like a genuine friendship for me, because as soon as I got in my car and I went to the suburbs and they stayed in the hood, like it felt like two separate worlds.
Right.
And so I would go to church Wednesday night, because when your parents are pastor, you in church like 4 or 5 times a week. Wednesday night, midweek service, I'm in church. I got on my same uniform from high school that day from being in chapel service. And of course, the girls from around the way, they're not excited to see me sitting there in that uniform. Plus I'm sounding the way I'm sounding. Plus I got the nerve to have both my parents. It felt like I was constantly fighting for simply just being born. And so I overcompensated that was when I think I started being a people pleaser. I overcompensated for the fact that I had things that other people didn't have, and I felt guilty for it. So I would bring some of the girls to my house after church, and I would give them my clothes, and I would, let them take whatever they wanted. You wanted my Barbies, you could take them, because I felt like it would bring some peace, and it would make it easier for me to be able to go to my own dad's church. And I think that's actually where I started getting that people pleasy. How do I make sure I keep it calm for everybody? Yeah, that was the hardest space. It was a great time because I got to see my father. I got to see what I think manhood, where I learned my definition of manhood. I got to see it during that space. I got to watch him beg God for things, and God provide them. I got to watch my dad sacrifice things from our household in order to pay the church bills. That's why it always upsets me when people are so quick to accuse pastors of taking from the church, because that wasn't my experience. The church actually bled my household. So that was probably the hardest time in my growing up, between the ages of 14 to 17, but also very, very beneficial. I learned, I grew a lot of my ideals around that time. I started figuring out what I was thinking about the world around that time.
During that same age range, what is something that the other kids on the block was doing that it was forbidden for you to do because of who your parents was, that you wanted to do?
Listen to secular music. I didn't get to start listening to secular. It's called secular music. If it's not, Dietrich Haddon and the Winans and, Kirk Franklin, if it's not church gospel music, it is considered secular music. And so I used to actually have to sneak and listen to the Quiet Storm, put my little tape in the and try and record the Quiet Storm so I could listen to it the next day, because I was scared to actually listen to it. My dad didn't ease up on that until I was probably 18 or 19.
So you remember the Wow CDs? Remember? Kirk Franklin was killing the era, right?
It was. And the great thing about it is, like, the music in the gospel genre was robust enough that it made you feel like you weren't missing out on anything. But as a creative, once I was able to finally get into the secular space, I was like, oh, I found more of my people. So,
yeah. Growing up in Detroit, 313. You went to the store plenty of times to get a pop.
Man, I could go for a Faygo. Ooh, I could go for a Faygo Red Pop right now. Yeah.
So y'all knew about Faygos before he even came.
What you mean, Verner's?
Wow.
Verner's, when Verner's finally made it, Verner's is the best ginger ale known to man. And when that made it, it's only one Harris Teeter in all of Charlotte that I know of that consistently carries it. And I'm not going to say it here because I don't want y'all to go and start buying it off the shelves. But like, there's certain things that, you can't get easily if you're not in Detroit, Chicago, like that little area.
Let me ask you this. How do you know somebody from Detroit?
Immediately if they say what up, though. Because when you greeted me with the what up, though, I was like, who you know and who your people? Like that immediately if you say what up, though.
Yeah, from the what up, though.
Yeah.
But you being from Detroit and you see someone else from Detroit, like, what is Detroit known for? I know Lake Michigan, I know Detroit is known for
the Motor City, baby. And you were in the presence of Miss Motor City 2005 in this bitch. What?
Yeah.
Yes. That was the one and only pageant that I ever did.
What is it?
Miss Michigan USA 2004, and I was Miss Motor City 2005.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Thank you. So they're known for the Motor City. They're known for the big three, the GMC, Ford, and what was the other one? I forget the other one. But that's what they're known for. And
what about food? What about comedy? What is it? Is the Cornish beef? What is it?
Coney dogs.
Wow.
Down at the Coney Island. Yeah, Coney dogs. I haven't had a good bomb Coney dog. I've had some okay ones, but the Coney Island Coney dogs from Detroit are the best.
How did you end up in Charlotte?
Yep, my parents moved down here when I was like turning 21, so I technically was a grown ass woman. My parents were coming down here, and my dad was like, "Look, I feel like God is moving me to another state. Time to pick up and go." And I didn't have a whole lot going on in Detroit at the time, so I was like, "I'm gonna go where the money is at." So I came to Charlotte.
Right.
Yeah, I was very family oriented at that time, so I still needed my family, and I'm glad I came.
So we know like Cleveland, Chicago.
Yep.
Triad star. Yeah. So like, did you spend time in Chicago? Did you spend time in Cleveland?
A little bit. I went to Ohio once. I went to Canada more times than I went there.
Canada's right there.
Yeah, surprisingly. And Canada is the most beautiful place that I have ever. I mean, it is so clean. The air is crisp. The trees and the grass are like this specific green that you don't see anywhere else. No matter what part of Canada you go to, it is immaculate.
And it's colder than Detroit.
Very it didn't seem colder because the time of year I would go. We always went like during the summer or fall or something. So I can't really gauge that. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at all the Tubi movies from, you know, I had to break that up, America. When you look at all the Tubi movies from Detroit and you look at the people from Detroit, because really the hood movie started from Detroit.
Yeah.
So you look at all the hood movies from Detroit and you being from Detroit. So like, does that make you feel good? Do it make you feel like you want to go back and maybe be in some of them movies?
Strong sense of pride. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't been back to the D since I moved down here. Shame on me. My brother has gone back to visit a couple times. Again, if I had any type of roots, I would have gone back. I was trying to actually organize my my 20th high school year reunion. And there weren't enough people like helping me out, so that kind of fell to the cracks. But the 25 years around the corner, so I might end up back in Detroit for that. I would love to be able to do that. I just didn't have like the resources for the 20 year, but I'll have the resources for the 25th year. And I'm MsMedia is perfectly happy to be the one to come back and put on the reunion. So I would love to do that.
So you do have siblings. You got a brother.
I have a brother. Yes.
That's it. Just you and your brother.
Just me and my brother.
Okay. What is he like? And how did he feel about you being MsMedia?
My brother was my first son before I had a son.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I used to, I treated him like he was my child before I actually became a parent. So him and I were very, very close. My brother plays multiple instruments. We get that artistic stuff from dad. But he doesn't do anything with it. He was under the impression that he was going to be the next LeBron James, and he was not a good basketball player at all. Like, so he wasted a lot of time with chasing something that he wanted to do, but it didn't want him back.
How did you? Well, wouldn't that fall back on you if you was looking at him like your son? Did you not direct him in the right direction to where like what he could be better in? So
at that time he was 17, so we've got a 4-year age difference.
Okay.
So if mom and dad are willing to drive him back and forth to these tryouts and sit and watch him sit on the bench, then I'm going to come and sit and watch you sit on the bench too. So we definitely would give him the feedback.
Absolutely.
But watching that, definitely broke my heart. And it showed me how much time you can waste, again, wanting something that doesn't want you back.
Right.
Yep.
So I kind of want to fast forward a little bit.
Come on.
2018.
Okay.
You entering the industry now.
Yes.
The media industry.
Yes, sir.
That I know that had to be tough because now you gotta earn respect. You gotta get new contacts. Walk me through that whole year.
I experienced my first bout of imposter syndrome when I did that pageant. When I did the pageant, to answer your question about 2018, I kind of got to go back all the way to 2004. Sounds crazy. But had I stuck with what God had called me to do and who God called me to be and not had ever tried to minimize myself, 2018 would have come sooner than 2018 did. So in 2004, when I did the Miss Michigan pageant, you would walk into the room and you heard other women like giving their explanation of what they're doing and who they are and why they think they're the perfect candidate. And like, Mazee, I'm like 75% of these women wanted to be sports journalists or sports broadcasting or in broadcasting. They were saying some variation of what I was going to school for. And that was the first time. I didn't know what that was. You know, we've come up with that term since then. But now working backwards, that was my first bout with imposter syndrome, because when I heard all these other really beautiful women saying the same thing that I said I wanted to do for a living, it made me feel like, oh, so it's just cookie cutter? Like, so what, like what else does it? It made me feel like it wasn't a real dream anymore. It did. It diluted my goal. And so it deferred me. I decided, let me just figure out how I'm going to find my space as a creative without having to go the traditional route. Had I gone the traditional route, I would have gone straight to ESPN. I would have been Michelle Tafoya. That is what I wanted to do. Yeah. I wanted to be a sideline reporter. Didn't care if the wind blew my hair. Like, I loved the idea of sports reporting. And I fell off in love with that version of it. So now I'm going rogue. Now we in 2018, and it's what I refer to as going rogue, because I did not step in with an agency of ESPN behind me. I just got myself. I got YouTube, right? I got whatever I decide to post to YouTube. So yeah, it was interesting. But Mazee, I used a clothing line to get my foot in the door. I am not a designer. I don't know really how to sew anything. But I started creating what I wanted to wear. I'm like, what do I want to wear? And I would pick certain pieces off of the internet. It really became drop shipping, to be honest. I picked certain pieces off the internet that didn't have any kind of logo on it, slapped my damn Goddess Clothing logo on top of it. If it was something that I actually wanted to wear, it became a part of my clothing line. And that's how Goddess Clothing was created. It really was just a line of stuff that I wanted to see men wearing and that I wanted myself to wear. So I had a men's line as well. And No Advisory Podcast caught wind of me having this clothing line. At the time, Quashim D. Herring, shout out to Quashim. Quashim D. Herring was on No Advisory. He pulled me to the side, wanted to have a conversation with me, and the rest became history. So I actually got my foot into the door by way of a clothing line. That's why, as a talent manager, not to jump too far ahead, but that's why as a talent manager, I always ask people in my consultations, what else do you do? Because if you're coming to me so that I can grow your brand as a recording artist or as an actor, that's great. But you've got to have something else that you do, because in this particular industry, talent is literally not enough.
So when people, okay, so let's say you had an intern and they want to get into media, and this is for all the women out there that want to get into media. What type of advice would you give them starting off, as you started off in 2018? But really, you said it started back when 2004.
I should have started back. If I had followed,
that's a big gap.
Yeah, it's 14-year gap. Let's keep it a buck. If I had not allowed my dream to get diluted, I would have probably gone to ESPN 14 years sooner. I didn't, so I had to get it out the mud.
Would you ever try to be like a news reporter?
I've been offered now. Yeah, I've done some interviews. I've gone down to a few news stations. But once you dip your toe in creative autonomy, it's really hard to go backwards. And I think if I had gone straight in with my initial goal, sports journalism, go in, intern, get the job with ESPN, work my way up, that would have been different. That would have been all I knew. But I've experienced actually having to vet my own individuals to sit down with.
Excuse me.
You're fine. I've experienced having to, be what you were talking about when I first got here: the EP, the producer, the talent, the host, the audience, the motherfucker. Like I've
you got to be all of it.
And so when you get to wear that many hats, why would you just want to wear one? So no, I found a way to get where I was supposed to be. It took a longer route, but so to answer your question, it sounded like you were asking me, what advice would I give women
that just want to jump into the media industry?
Do the work. Being a woman is not enough. Being a beautiful woman is not enough. Please understand that it is not enough of us in this space to begin with. And it's kind of the same example. I don't know. Can I go there? Let me see if I'm comfortable enough to go there. I'm going to do it. Fuck it. It's the same thing as like when you talking about black people, right?
Right.
If you put in a good word for me down at the company and I come in there and I show my ass.
fuck up.
The first thing you're going to say is, come on, bro, you know it's not a lot of us down here.
That part.
Same thing. Women, I would implore you, coming into this space, understand that do the job. Do your work. Do the work, do the job. Your work will make room for you. Your work will get you indoors that having a nice shape will not be able to keep you in. Mm-hmm. Having a strong work ethic and a good turnaround time on your content, being someone who vets your stories and doesn't just run with propaganda, being someone who actually is morally and ethically in line with what journalism was founded on, will keep you in rooms that having a really good unit on will not get you into. So that would be my number one most hard-hitting piece of advice. Do the work. I don't think that women in the media space, in entertainment as a whole, really, we ain't even got to just break it down to media. Women in entertainment as a whole, I don't think that we do a good enough job of actually doing the work once we get our foot in the door. We come into the room and we're like, I'm here. And we want to talk, and we spend time doing things other than we're creating friendships when we should be trying to create an actual book of business, extension of your resume. So that would be my number one. Now, I really don't know if I got any more advice. Shit, bitch, come here and do the work. That's the advice.
And you went to school for yes. Journalism and communication?
Yep. Wayne State. Shout out to Wayne State University.
Was that hard?
It was not that hard.
Come on with that.
You know what was hard for me was the classes I didn't give a damn about. Math, science, those were the hard classes for me. But when I got to sit in my film class and I learned what the mise-en-scene was, and I got to understand how much control the camera operator has, and I got to understand the importance of lighting, and I got to that didn't feel hard for me. That felt like I was, on the mothership. But the classes that were difficult for me, math, science, anything that didn't require me to use my imagination. Yeah.
Absolutely. You bring something different to the table that nobody else is doing. One of the things that I will bring up and mention, we can promote it right here on the show.
Talk about it.
24-hour nail salon.
Because why not? Because here's the thing. It doesn't matter how much freedom you have at your job. When I left corporate, I made my own hours. I really only worked like 3-4 hours a day, and I worked from home. So even with that, I still could not make it to the nail salon before the nail salon closed. Or when I did get there, there were too many people still there, or they couldn't promise me both services. That was my number one pet peeve, having to choose between the service, because you never have enough time for both based on what time the salon is about to close in comparison to what your work schedule looks like. Always having to choose between, do I get my hands done or my feet done? I need both, but people gonna see my hands before they see my feet. And, just that constant back and forth. Also, I saw a decline in the customer service, Mazee. I got tired. I didn't know until I moved to Charlotte that the black women and the white women did not have any kind of monopoly on the beauty industry. I didn't know that. I came down here and we were being sold to, but we weren't selling to each other. And so I saw the big gaping hole just in the conversational piece. It feels very, it has been multiple times where I've gone into a salon and it's been very off-putting. You ask them a question and they answer it, but they answer it in another language to somebody across the salon. And you feel very, like you're on display. What I want my space to bring back is the appreciation for the dollar. The appreciation for the fact that women are going to spend their last dollar on how they look, no matter if the world is burning down. We proved that during COVID. When I was looking at the numbers in 2020 and 2021, beauty industry skyrocketed. It was already one of the top dogs to begin with, but it skyrocketed. And that is because when you're sad, you feel better when you get your nails done. When you're sad, you get a new unit on. Man, as soon as you get you some new lace glued down, you feel better. And so that is something that I paid attention to, and I want to bring customer service back to the nail experience. I want them to feel valued. I want you to know that your money and your dollar is valued. I don't want you to have to be concerned with what time of day you get there, because we will have coverage all time of day. And we've got 3 different locations, 2 in South End and 1 in Matthews. And that is to the point that I was making earlier. What else does it do? Again, when I talk to individuals who are trying to find a way into this entertainment space, I'm like, don't come in as an entertainer. I didn't. I did not come into the space as an entertainer, and I went to school to be a journalist. I went to school to sit on television, and I still did not do that to come into the space. I used a clothing line the first time, and now that I'm looking to scale, now I'm using a nail salon. So I implore everyone, especially as creatives, because we know what it's like to be a starving artist. I've starved plenty of nights, and the way around that is to be a business person as well. We all can't do it. But for those of us who can, I definitely would implore you to try.
What even inspired you to be into this industry anyway?
I can't do anything else. There's nothing else I could do.
Really?
I've tried. Yeah, I tried. When I was in corporate, I was actually very good at being a recruiter. I moved up in recruiting into senior recruiting, and then I got into technical recruiting. Mm-hmm. Then I got into business development, which business development essentially is going out and finding new business that maybe didn't even know about your business.
And develop that.
It's all sales, straight sales. You're selling yourself and you're selling your company. And I kicked ass. By the time I left corporate, I was making well over 6 figures. And that was before bonuses. But it was too hard for me. I was also running to the bathroom having anxiety attacks at least once a week because I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't what God called me to do. It didn't fuel me to get out of the bed in the morning. It doesn't make me feel like it didn't bring me any value. And I made a lot of money. I was responsible for bringing jobs to multiple different cities. I employed thousands of individuals, and to this day, I run into people that I used to manage in a call center. So I appreciate that experience, but it did not fulfill me. What fulfills me is using the gift that God gave me. I don't think that there's anything closer to God than being a creative.
So you definitely have a relationship with God.
Had to get one for myself. I was riding on my parents' Christianity because they were the pastors. I was riding on them for a long time. But probably about 4 years ago, I tapped in with God intentionally to get a relationship for myself. Yes, sir.
Because when you in that type of atmosphere, in that environment, you living with your parents, you got to do what they say anyway.
Yep.
So you got to go with what they believe.
Yep.
And then when you get out, you got your own belief.
Yep.
And then when you get this age, they like, okay, well, what can we say? You grown now, right?
Yeah.
So let's take it back to Charlotte. You work with Hot Boy Shaq.
What's up? That's my man's now.
Talk to me about how that got started and what you did for him.
Yeah, so I actually was the creative director and the production manager for his music video, Standing on Business. And Standing on Business was so much fun. I had so much fun with that project because I did a play on one of the scenes in Power. I don't know if you guys watch Power, but it was this really dope scene between Ghost and his son Tariq. So I casted my son as Tariq. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I love, my favorite thing with working with specifically with rap artists is putting them in a suit. If I can put you in a suit and get you looking nice and crisp and get you looking completely separate than how people are used to seeing you, that it makes me feel like I'm killing two birds with one stone. Because now I'm promoting you to a different demographic and I'm marketing you to a different demographic. So it's not just about entertaining people. I'm pitching you. I'm selling you while I'm doing it.
Right.
So I had a great time working with Hot Boy. Hot Boy is such a great artist to work with in the sense that he knows what he wants, but he's also going to give you the freedom and the room to get in your bag too. Super professional, just easy peasy to work with. I will say though, he dropped his ID on the patio in between like the little creases at the restaurant that we had booked for the venue to shoot at. And me and his manager, shout out to Stilo, it took us like an hour and a half
to find the ID.
We was putting gum on stuff, trying to like get it. And he was traveling that upcoming week, so we had to get the brother's ID for him. But yeah, I had a great time working with Hot Boy Shaq. TRF Book, I've done a couple visual projects for him. He's actually one of the artists that I get to offer some management consultation with because I sit on the label. So shout out to Major Money Entertainment. But I've worked with some phenomenal recording artists and they've given me an opportunity to really build my resume out as a music visual director.
Like, and with all of this is going on, you wearing so many hats anyway. And, a lot of people get overwhelmed. with the too many hats or whatever. But obviously you don't.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
I almost didn't make it tonight. Vulnerable moment. I almost didn't make it tonight. I was actually exhausted. I am very exhausted. I have not slept this year. I have not slept consistently since February. So I was going to call off tonight, but I saw too much value in sitting down with you. And also I have been incredibly thrown and blown away by Cardi B's momentum with how she's been promoting her album. Watching her promote herself has given me like an extra oomph of energy that I genuinely need. It put a battery in my back. So, nah, that's not true.
Okay.
It's not easy.
Okay. I would have never known that.
I'm going to just keep it moving. I keep one foot in front of the other every day. Yeah.
But where I was getting at was, what's something that you learned about yourself when it comes to your journey? That like all of this, it was something that you learned from you.
Man, you ask really great questions. I like your questions.
I'm the king.
You are. Something I've learned. I've learned some great things. I've learned some scary things. One thing I have learned for sure is that God called me to be here. That's definitely one thing I've learned. I'll never have another imposter syndrome moment again in my life. I know for a fact I'm supposed to be here. I've even had a Jonah in the well experience where because I did not get these nail salons open quickly enough, I experienced some loss on the back end. I told you to do something, I was able to get it done. Because with me opening this nail salon, yeah, it's a money grab, but I am bringing more than 50 jobs immediately to the city of Charlotte. It's not just about me. So my disobedience impedes on what God is trying to do in other people's lives too. So yeah, I promise you the number one thing that I have learned about myself through all of this is that God called me to be here. And knowing that God called you to do something gives you the momentum.
Absolutely.
It keeps you fighting. It keeps you feeling like, okay, because every day you don't feel like doing it. Every day you don't feel like a star. And to your point, with me wearing so many hats, I toggle between being the star and being the servant, right? Because when you're behind the camera, you're the servant to the production. When you're in front of the camera, you're the star. Right. You're the talent. So that there is that constant dance, that delicate dance that I'm constantly doing. But God told me I was supposed to be here. He gave me these gifts and has kept me incredibly strong here, because what I do notice is I never run off of a stage and have an anxiety attack the way I used to run out of boardrooms and had them. I noticed that. I was stressed out in corporate just the way I am here, but I couldn't handle it there. I'm handling it here because this is where God called me to be. That's the one thing I've learned. And
that's kind of like something that you wanted to get into anyway. You wanted to be able to focus being behind the camera. So
that's the long-term dream.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
To hearing what you're saying now.
Yes.
It makes sense. So it brings me to my next question, which would be, like, what did you have to sacrifice for your career? Because a lot of people, they don't know what they sacrifice, and I don't even know if they sacrifice in anything. But what are you, MsMedia, sacrificing for your career then and now? Put that in the back of your mind.
Man, that's good. What am I sacrificing? Death to self. It's a self-sacrifice. I die to self every day. It is yeah. Because even the projects that I collaborate on, I'm not the show, that's their project. Matter of fact, right now I'm the production manager for a web series. And this brother has been talking me through things daily, weekly, and I'm like, this is your project. This is your baby. I'm here to do a job, but this is your baby.
Did he hire you?
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. And the dying to self, because if I thought about myself with it, then I would get overly connected to it like I have in projects in the past. But remembering that I was hired to do a job and it's bigger than you keeps me as a servant. And I have to be a servant. Growing up as a pastor's daughter, that's just something that was instilled in me. Pastors are automatic servants. And so it's important to me to be a servant in some way. So yeah, that gives me that space there.
Absolutely. What's something that you still looking about yourself? Because this is really about you. You in the hot seat.
It is hot too.
Yeah, and and like I said, I wanted you to be on the show on my season premiere, second season. You already know about season premieres.
Yeah.
You feel me? You working on your third, I'm on my second far as this segment.
Congratulations.
Right. So when I were talking with Mazee, everybody's seen the first season, and we're still working this deal with Netflix. With all of this to be shown. So I needed you to be on this season because I wanted people to know really about you.
I appreciate that.
That didn't know about you, and like to hear what you sacrificed, to hear, everything that you did for your career, brings me to my next question. Like, what is something about you that you still want to embrace about yourself that people may not understand about you, but you still need to embrace it, but maybe you shy? I don't know.
You asked me what was off topic, and I said, "Don't ask me who I'm dating. We don't talk about that, right?" I will give you this, okay? I'm gonna give you this. I'm noticing, Mazee, that there's an off balance when I go home at the end of the day, because there's not a man at home that's telling me what to do after I've spent all day telling men what to do. So that is something that I'm kind of not excited about right now. And it never bothered me before. I've just been in grind mode and hustle mode, and I've had fiancés and I've had boyfriends. I've always been on such a quick go. But now that I'm paying attention to things a little bit more, and when the day slows down, it does feel a little bit imbalanced for me. It's like I'm constantly, telling people what needs to get done. I would love to have somebody at the house to tell me what to do.
Right.
And so that would be the thing that people probably don't widely know about media. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I just learned that about myself. So
right. But like I said, you can have America. Let me address America. I want to take a pause on MsMedia. I want to address America. America, listen, when you come on this show, I want my audience to be able to know who you are. When you get in that hot seat, it's about you. And a lot of people may not know about you. So when you come on this show, people will know about you after you watch the interview, right? So just knowing everything that you do, strolling through your IG, we would get a social media outlook, but we won't get the real you outlook, right?
Never.
But being here talking to you and seeing how humble you are, seeing how smart you are, how educated you are, seeing how cultured you are, because you are cultured. You got the D in you.
Well, I was born in Germany, but I grew up in Detroit.
You got the D in you.
Yeah.
Let me go get a pop. You got it in you. You know what
we
I'm
don't
saying?
do soda. It's pop.
Yeah, it's pop.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
You in the Midwest when you say that, but I've seen females from the D, and you are definitely from the D.
Thank you.
You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, but the fact that you were raised by parents that was in Christianity, to see you and to see like, okay, well, let me see. Some people that be raised in a religion, Jehovah's Witness, is different. Yeah. Because they still stick with that Jehovah's Witness. But I just feel like people that's in Christianity, we always find our different way. Like, The
trick is to be in the world and not to be of the world. And I haven't perfected that. I'm still pretty carnal.
That's a scripture.
I'm still pretty carnal.
Yeah.
But, daily struggle, daily fight.
I probably should have asked you that. What's your favorite scripture?
My favorite scripture is be anxious for nothing. I actually struggle with anxiety. And that became my favorite scripture before I even got diagnosed with anxiety. As a businesswoman, it's incredibly important to keep that in mind. Be anxious for nothing. When you're dealing with men, be anxious for nothing. When you're deciding what investment to make, be anxious for nothing. When you're deciding what role to take, be anxious for nothing. When you move from a space of anxiety, you also are moving out of desperation too. And that's just not the position that God calls you from. So that's definitely I have to mirror my life after that. Be anxious for nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What can we look forward to?
What you can look forward to, I want you to bring those feet. I don't know what your feet look like, but we will get your feet right down to Media Nail Boutique and get you a nice pedicure. I'll make sure you get an invitation once we cut the ribbon. But I'd like to have you on the show. I'd love to have you on Mondays with MsMedia. You are incredibly intelligent. Your questions are so great that I know that you would give me back a really robust interview from the opposite angle. I really enjoyed the questions today, and I never sit down with anyone without sending them questions first. I never asked you for your questions. I trusted you because I saw the individuals that you had sat down with, and your reputation certainly had preceded you. And I'm glad you didn't disappoint me. But what's next is having you on the show. And wrapping up Mondays with MsMedia. I got 4 more years on camera, guys. I want to wrap up being on camera after these next 4 years so that I can spend the rest of my life behind the camera full time as a full-time director and producer. That is my I am so excited to get to that point, but also really showing the respect to Mondays with MsMedia that the show is due. So we'll be ending that show with 20 full seasons. By the time I get off air, I will have done 20 seasons of that show.
I love it.
Yes,
that's dope. MsMedia, please tell them where to find and follow you at.
You can find and follow me at the TheRealMsMedia.
And that's why y'all can hear her on radio, right? The late night shift, you can hear her on radio, right? Because the voice, you always got to hear the voice when you do the late night, and she does that. America, I brought to y'all tonight, MsMedia. I told you that she was working on her 3rd season of her talk show, Mondays with MsMedia.
Yes,
and also, she wear a lot of other hats, and y'all found out tonight exactly who she is. We're going to do a part 2 because there's way more to the story than what y'all got today. But I am your host, your favorite host of all time, Maserati Santana. This has been another episode, exclusive, uncensored episode of 1 Hour Talk with Mazee. And until next time, you already know what I say, good people. Love, peace, and happiness. We out.